It is drizzling a little, it is icy, so be careful going out to the parking lot. I did a little slipping coming up the hill, but they've got the street is sanded, and so that felt very safe, but just FYI on that. So I'd like to welcome everyone today and let you know that what we're going to talk about is the new purchasing system. I can recall we started a business case for this a couple years ago, Sean Winkleman, Melissa Miller, and myself, to present to UCAR management a need that we had in this organization to basically put online all of our purchasing activities. So this is the first session where we're going to be introducing you to the new purchasing system. It's called SciQuest. It's a cloud solution, and a team of us, many of us are here in the room today, are here to do that first introduction for you. So I do want to acknowledge the team that's here. Helen, from a change management perspective. We've got Allison. She's actually the project lead for the contracts office on this project. Angie is doing the accounts payable. She's also leading the Concur project. We've got Heather, trainer. Heather comes to us from CU, who has implemented these same systems. So we have great experience from a training perspective there. Anthony, he's our project manager. So he's helping keeping us in line and our actions up to date. And then we have Connie, and she's working with Helen in developing the training materials. So if I missed anyone, I apologize. And we have a lot of people behind us helping with the configurations. Okay. So what are we going to be discussing with you today? This is slightly out of order. We were making some last minute changes overnight, but who is SciQuest? We're going to go into describe what is the SciQuest tool. We also want to speak to you about what are the benefits to you, the labs and programs, as well as the organization as a whole. We're going to be talking about our schedule, so you know when our anticipated go live date is, and it is just around the corner. For those of us who are working on this, it feels that way. And what will user support and training look like for the labs and programs, as well as then what are next steps and questions. And again, this is the first of a couple sessions that will be coming out to you and helping introduce you to these new online purchasing tools. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Anthony, who's going to pick it up from the OpEx perspective.
Thanks, Gina, and thanks to you who made the time to be here today. I can say from the STEPS project team, we're really excited to talk to you about what SciQuest is, what it's going to do for you all, and how we're going to set you up for success in this project. Just to back it up a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about what STEPS is. So STEPS is two projects in one. The first being the implementation of Concur to modernize our travel and expense management at the organization. Namely, those 6,000 annual trips that your colleagues take, that supported guests take. And we're going to go live Tuesday, March 28th, but we've actually got a pilot coming out in about 2 weeks, so we're running towards that deadline. STEPS is also the implementation of SciQuest, which is going to take our paper-based procurement environment and upgrade that significantly. And we're going to use that to manage more than $40 million of annual expenditures, both from a procurement through payables perspective. And we're going to go live with that Monday, June 19th. So again, two projects leaning on a lot of the same resources and some overlap in between. This is a different view. We'll call this the landscape of the project. There we are, UCAR in the middle. Over to the right, we've got Concur, what we're going to use to modernize our travel and expense management. We're also going to reconcile P-Card in that application, and we're going to manage our new T-Card travel program in that application. Over to the left, SciQuest. SciQuest is actually multiple modules. It's not one thing that UCAR has procured in order to bring modernization to the source-to-pay technology. So first, we implemented a reporting and spend analytics tool called Spend Radar. That went live in October 2016. What we get out of that is really great insights into our organization's spending habits. We can see who's spending, on what, and with whom. We can analyze for trends, And we can analyze for opportunities to strategically source goods and services so contracts can add better value to you all and partner with you. We're leading towards our e-procurement to payables. Today, manual, paper-based environment is going to transform into e-procurement. Think Amazon-like shopping experience. Think catalogs online, all the way through payables. Why do we pick SciQuest? Quite simply, SciQuest is a leader in this space, okay? Not only for higher education and government customers, but customers all over across many different industries. They've got big customers, they've got small customers. What do we get from SciQuest? Well, one of the things with going with the market leader is they have pre-negotiated deals with some of the best suppliers, including some of the suppliers that UCAR utilizes today, some we'd like to use, on really good preferential terms. And it's a really great platform to work with. Of note, SciQuest is software as a service, cloud-based application. There's a host of benefits to be getting from that. First is, it's accessible through a browser. There's no installations, and when it comes time for an upgrade, we simply get ready. So SciQuest will push out upgrades on a predefined schedule that we just get ready to accept, and we benefit from the incremental improvement of the iterative process. In terms of timeline, way back in May of 2016, we procured our source-to-pay system and then went off planning, gathering requirements that we need to bake into this application. First implementation was from August until October. The team put in our spend analytics tool, which is really queued up to our strategic sourcing efforts, which are ongoing. Additionally, Contracts has 3 internally facing modules that are going to help them better administer their daily work. They are Sourcing Director, Total Supplier Manager, and Total Contracts Manager. From an end user perspective, you'll all see the biggest change from our e-procurement and accounts payable project, okay? And I'd be remiss if I didn't just pause and talk about the great work that Carl Werner and his team is doing around integrating UCAR's core financials and people information against SciQuest to ensure a seamless technical integration. This is our core team. This is the team of your peers and colleagues that is focused tirelessly on implementing this technology. Gina called out our names and roles, so I'm not going to go through that. Just want to call out that start every day at 8 a.m. with these folks in a room. I end a lot of days with them, and judging from the frequency and time of the emails, I don't think all of us are sleeping. So also want to call out that down to the right, you'll see some names that are not from UCAR. We have really great partnership with our Huron consultants, as well as a really great team on the SciQuest side. So this is the team that's focused on bringing you the capability and the tool. And our team's about to get bigger, okay? New to UCAR through steps is the concept of a pro team. This is how the pro team works, okay? We're doing our best internally as the service providers to develop and configure a really great system using the requirements that we think exist, okay? Once we have something that's about right, we're going out to engage high volume users from across the organization. We'll get them in labs, we'll give them access to the tool and give them homework, and we're gonna have them test it, and we're gonna have them try to break it. And we're gonna take all the input that they give us based on that configuration and use it to firm up the system as we get ready to have more of a final form and roll towards full live system. One of the benefits of the SciQuest Pro Team, or the Pro Team model, is we naturally have folks that know a lot about the system. So 2 things. 1, excellent pilot members as we start to pilot this across select users across the organization. And 2nd, we naturally have subject matter experts deployed in the labs and programs so we can have regionalized coaching. So you can get information not only from your contracts administrators, but you also have some subject matter experts very familiar with the system in your own labs and programs. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Allison Probst. Allison's going to walk us through some of the capabilities and benefits that we can expect to see as a result of the SciQuest implementation.
Thanks, Anthony. So I just want to say, as well as everybody has already said, I'm really excited to share this with you and get into some more of these details. So you've heard a lot of names about the different tools already mentioned. So just on a high level, the tools that UCAR is going to be implementing cover these 4 areas. So there's the supplier management, and not only is there a separate supplier management tool, there's a contract management tool, and there is a, um, a sourcing director tool. So cover all those within supplier management. There's the e-procurement piece, which is probably what most of you guys are most excited about, the shopping piece of it, where there's catalogs, and I'll get into a little bit more detail about that. There's the accounts payable piece that handles all the invoicing, so everything is automatic. And then spend analysis. There's tools not only within each of the modules for reporting, but as Anthony just mentioned, there's the Spend Radar tool that does really deep level strategic sourcing analysis. So there's tons of benefits, and we couldn't fit them all within a slide presentation. As it is, we put them on 2 slides, but I'm just going to speak to a few of these and let you all look at the rest on the slides. So shopping for goods and services is going to be simple and intuitive. It's used to what you're doing now online. There is online supplier management portal, which is going to be accessible by everybody, which is great because it puts the onus on the suppliers to make sure that they have all of the needed information within our systems. Easy to use internet-based shopping. You've heard similar to Amazon already, and we'll have another slide that'll show a little bit more of what that looks like. There is online approval workflow and requisition tracking. There is lots of flexibility, and you can do 24/7 shopping and approving if you'd like, although I hope you all won't. Streamlining data entry and reconciliation. There's electronic routing based on different requisition attributes. Automates the accounts payable process, so invoices will have a workflow, and whether or not you need to see those or not, that can all be predetermined. I just mentioned there's really insightful reporting. There's data analysis so that opportunities can be made as far as savings. And our goal is to reduce shadow systems. We know they're out there, and we're going to, these tools will help in getting rid of those, hopefully, entirely. And overall, the benefits are to save time and money. So sourcing and supplier management, there's a lot of things that make up this category. And as I mentioned, there's an online supplier portal. So we can invite suppliers to register as well as register them ourselves. And they go in and enter all the needed information that we need in order to do business with them. And it's a much more streamlined process than we do now. A lot of you, if you're engaged in that, working with procurement, you know that there's a lot of details that we need from them. And this will put the responsibility on the suppliers to put all that information in the system and keep it up to date as well. And then we already talked about there's availability of reporting and metrics and lots of analysis that you can do as part of that. As part of the e-procurement piece, there's going to be catalogs, and you can do ordering off of contracts that we'll set up as well. And then the sourcing director tool, where we can do requests for information, RFIs, requests for quotes, RFQs, and RFPs, requests for proposals. All of that can be done online to include the evaluation process of those proposals as well. And then award optimization. So the contract management module, everything, all the contracts will be kept online, and there will be a repository for those. So everything will be in one place, one location. So this is the bit everybody, I'm sure, wants to see where you're ready to go shopping. So the e-procurement piece, the shopping piece, as I like to call it, because again, there's lots of names for everything, and it's the easiest way to remember it. So this is just basic workflow for if you have something you want to go shopping for. Say it's a Dell computer. So you go in, you go shopping, and you can either be a shopper or a requisitioner of whether, depending upon the approval authorities that your lab and program set up. But you go shopping, you put the items that you want in the cart, and then the cart becomes your requisition. And then that routes through an approval process. And ultimately, a purchase order gets issued. Then there's the receiving. All of that is all within the system. The invoicing, that can all take place within the system. And then ultimately, the payment that gets issued out of our financial system. So we talked about this, and I know it's kind of hard to see this slide, but like we've mentioned a couple times, it's really similar to Amazon when you want to go shopping. We'll have catalogs set up with many vendors for items that you would normally purchase, and you can just search. So it's hard to see this, but much like with Amazon, you can go to the top and type in what you're looking for. And this happens to say gloves because I know you guys can't read that, but it might be laptop or whatever the case may be. And it will show you everything that's available within the catalogs and contracts that we have set up. And then if that doesn't cover what you need, there's non-catalog ordering as well. So there'll be a form in the system that will be configured and that you can Sorry. I don't like being that close. Thank you. Oh, instead of going to the screen. Sorry, I like to move around. Sorry. I don't feel like I'm like trapped behind here. So what I was saying was there's non-catalog ordering. So there'll be a form set up in the system where you can order things that aren't already on the catalogs or the contracts that we have, and it will be simple. And that form will have its own workflow as well. And ultimately, the form will become a requisition as well, and then it will go through the approval process. So the accounts payable piece has to do with processing an invoice. And basically, once you're done shopping and an invoice is received for the goods and services, it just goes through a simple process. And I mentioned this already. There can be separate invoice workflows set up depending upon what it is that what you're purchasing. So in some cases, the invoices will route directly through without any additional approvals. But in some cases, there will be additional approvals, but that can all happen electronically. It will all route. So the reporting piece, there's lots of benefits in the SciQuest, and as I mentioned, not only does each tool within the group of tools that UCAR is implementing have reporting capabilities, but there's also the spend radar piece as well. So it's easy to capture things such as spend, cycle times, when we're able to take advantage of discounts. And you can really use this to your advantage and work with procurement to take advantage of where there's opportunities to save some money as far as spending patterns and spending habits and creating some value and hopefully cost savings in that. So the next steps are, what do training and user support look like? So I'll turn it over to Heather to talk a little bit about that.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. I see some familiar faces from Concur, so hopefully this will seem very similar because we have very similar resources that are coming your way. So as far as SciQuest is concerned, we will have a SciQuest user support site, just like we'll have on the Concur side of things, and that's where you could go for basically a one-stop shop as far as training and support is concerned. We'll have step-by-step guides there, videos. The videos will be branded in the Learn in a Minute brand that we have, so that's also available on YouTube. We'll have FAQs. All of that is available from that SciQuest user support site. We'll have coaches, like Anthony mentioned. Those will be local, so within your own lab or program, you'll have somebody that you could turn to and get answers to your questions. As far as the training is concerned, we'll have hands-on labs so that you could come and actually play in the system and take part in that. But we'll also have demonstrations with some questions and answers parts to it, if you would prefer that type of format. So a very robust training offering is going to be available. So this is where Concur actually differs a little bit. We have the opportunity to name our SciQuest tool. And so we would love all of you to take part in this and help us name it. Help us name it and help us get a logo for it. So as it says, Amazon, eBay, Zappos, some of those big ones are already taken. So we have the opportunity to come up with our own. And the grand prize is listed there. Basically kudos and a little bit of a gift certificate. So we love to share your story, share with how you came up with that logo or that slogan, that brand, whatever you want to refer to it as. We'd love to feature you and give you lots of our kudos for doing that. You live in infamy. So what this involves is to submit your idea to us. And there's a Google form that you will use to do that. The deadline is Friday, February 10th. So you'll have a couple of weeks to get those creative juices flowing and get something submitted to us. And then we'll have folks who will vote on our top entries, and then the winner will be announced on Friday, March 10th, and we'll be posting things in the staff notes as far as this link is concerned and as far as the progress in getting our logo and our name accomplished. So what are the next steps in general as far as SciQuest is concerned? Well, first of all, just like we do with Concur, we have a SciQuest project page, and you could go there. It's you could actually get to both of them from that URL and just see what we have going on. We'll always keep that updated as far as our news are concerned, as far as the training and the learning is concerned. It will all be available from that one website. And then definitely keep your thoughts going as far as what sort of branding we could do for this. We'd love to hear from you by Friday, February 10th. So definitely submit, as it says here, your creative genius to us so that we could have your help branding the site. And then starting June, in time for that June 19th go live, we'll have our trainings. So definitely keep an eye on that as far as how to sign up for those sessions and what those sessions will look like. And then staff notes is also a great place. We'll be popping things in there occasionally. Most recently, our naming here. Do you think I'm plugging that enough? We really want your feedback here. But staff notes will also be putting announcements in there to keep you up to date. So with that, we'd like to open it up for any questions that you have about this tool. We have some microphones that'll float around just for the webcast sake, so you can talk into them. And Allison, you might want to come up here too, since I think you'll be the primary one answering these.
I'm curious how you're going to interface with well, I deal with page charges a lot, and how are you going to deal with the publishers, and how you're going to invite them in to work within the system?
That's a great question. So we haven't worked out all the details. I'll preface all the questions about that, right? Like we're just getting into the configuration, so we haven't worked out all the details, but I envision the purchasing would work the same way in those cases on publications. I mean, with some of them, they accept purchase orders, so we issue purchase orders to them, and some we have to use credit cards. So I envision it working the same way. It would just, the purchase itself would be going through the tool. As far as in the future and setting up any catalogs with those, I'm not sure that would be possible, because I think maybe that is what you're asking as far as those suppliers that offer those. But I think the basic purchasing would be the same. It would just be in the system that we'd be able to do that. And in a lot of cases, hopefully, you as either a shopper or a requisitioner would actually be able to issue those POs directly to those publishers. So you wouldn't, in all cases, need to route that requisition through procurement like you do now. Yeah. There's got to be more questions. Yeah.
The simple one. How does petty cash, will petty cash be working? The same, or?
And that'll actually, the petty cash process will be handled through Concur and not through SciQuest. I don't know if do we have any more details to offer about how that will work in Concur?
So those will kind of fall in the same category as an employee reimbursement, and then because the employee reimbursements are going through Concur, that's how those would be handled. Yep.
It's early, and you all just saw an introduction, so I get it. But if you do have any questions beyond today, feel free to reach out to me as well if you want to talk about it, or any of us here that you saw. Yeah? Oh, another question. Yay!
Thanks for your time. I'm not sure if I'm understanding this. That's why it's a question.
Okay.
So on the Concur side, we have like the P card, and then this is more like the purchase requisitions purchasing, right? I mean, those are kind of what I understand to be the two types of purchases that we do. Now, currently, I buy all of our Dells and Apples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's
Is
on.
this better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
But I don't like this. Okay, so I currently buy our computers for CGD
Right.
using my P card. How is that going to change with this? Am I going to now start going through this this way? Because the way we do it now is our IS people spec them out, and then they submit that to me. I go into the Dell site and purchase it on my P card. So how is that going to work now with this?
Great question. So our goal is to set up catalogs with both Dell and Apple. So the goal will be to have a catalog. So you'll actually be able to go into SciQuest and do that purchase directly. So to your example, Dell, you'd be able to go into SciQuest as a shopper, or if you're a requisitioner, and order a laptop or however many you order at a time, and take advantage of the catalog pricing that we've set up, which will be should be discounted. However, if you have a P card, you still certainly can use P card purchases. It's just that you wouldn't be going into SciQuest to do that purchase. You would just do the purchase like you normally do. But then the reconciliation of the P card would be in Concur. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting too close.
So I won't be, with the SciQuest side of it,
Uh-huh.
there's not a reconciliation process for the purchaser. I mean, it's just like when a purchase rec is done. So
Right.
then at year end, anything that's, that has to be, yes, accrued, that will be done automatically through the SciQuest, through procurement?
It would. I envision our year-end process will stay the same that it currently does. So we would be handling that, and then the accruals would actually be happening in IFAS, in our financial system, because that would remain unchanged.
Okay, so basically the SciQuest side and the Concur side are two separate things? They're not going to be together,
They're two separate things.
two separate things?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have to learn 2 new tools?
It's not hard, I promise.
Thank
The
you.
efficiencies you'll gain from them will far outweigh any kind of time you spend. I promise.
You'll be fine.
I promise. There'll be lots. Heather will take care of you and we will all provide lots of training and support for you.
No more pencils, no more paper cuts, no more
Paper.
pages stuck in inboxes. It's going to be transparent business rules. It'll be really effective for you.
Well, as the way we do it now, the IS people do the shopping, right? They go to the Dell site, they do the shopping. Then they turn that quote over to me and I purchase it. But there really won't be any reason for them to go through that step of turning it over to me when they can do all the shopping and then it just generates the purchase rec and then it just gets purchased and bada boom, bada bing, right?
And it will really be up to each lab and program to set up their approvals as they want it. So there's roles of shoppers in the system, and then there's requisitioners. And a shopper can literally, go in and see everything and decide what they want and put it in a cart. And then the cart gets routed to a requisitioner, the other role. And it's the requisitioner that has the different requisition authority levels, which you're used to now. Okay. So it's really up to each lab and program. I mean, to your example, you could give them roles as shoppers, and they could route their carts to you for the approval, and then they'd be able to do the configurations in the system, and it would just route to you.
Or not.
Or not, if you so choose.
Okay, so retirement. Here I come.
I suspect you have a few other things to do as well, so the efficiencies created here will help.
And the tool is going to give us the opportunity to see that spending and find out where are there areas where if we got together and pooled our spending, where can we get discounts? Are there some standards that we want to agree to and really capture that together? And so kind of coordinating that, managing that, keeping on top of that is sort of a new role for us because we haven't had that ability before.
So we can do more things organizational-wide.
Yes, so Galen will be able to
Absolutely.
work, organizationally wide with other groups who are doing this and also within the own group about, look, we've got this pattern and this trend happening. Do we want to do something about it? Can we take advantage? And so working with purchasing to say, is there an opportunity here? Can you help us? Can you help us make sure that we maximize our dollars?
So Allison, can you speak to the spend radar on what our intent is there?
So Anthony mentioned it more than I did. The Spend Radar tool is really the spend analytics tool, and it provides very detailed insight into the spend, and you can literally delve into very minor or very small details on every single purchase. So our intent with that is once we go live, we'll be working with each lab and program to distribute some of those licenses. And I envision each lab and program will have a couple of licenses that they will be able to view the spend in that tool. And then the goal is to work, not only to do it within your lab and program, but to work with procurement as well. And to what Helen just said, identifying areas where not only you could save in your lab and program, but where other labs and programs are having, the same, looks like have the same opportunities, and kind of consolidate and really create some opportunities there as far as savings. Any more questions? Well, like I said, if you do have any more questions, feel free to shoot me an email or anyone that you've seen here today, because we're really excited about this opportunity. And also, please spread the word about the naming contest. It really is a big deal, and we really want as much input as we can get from the organization, because we want some exciting, really catchy names to use for these tools. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for taking the time today.